How did a swamp on an island become the most powerful city on Earth? Not London, not Paris, not Rome. A city that existed barely 400 years ago. How? Imagine 1624. The world's majority power? Concentrated in Europe. There were empires in Spain. Britain had navies. And then some Dutch businessmen landed on an island called Manhattan and thought, you know what? Let's build something here. This was not destiny. It wasn't clear. The island itself was nothing special, just rocks, marsh, and a few streams. But here's what made it different. It had a natural harbor that ships could actually use. While other cities were hidden inland or trapped by geography, New York's harbor was a gift. Deep water, safe from storms, directly connected to the Atlantic Ocean. Ships could arrive, dock, trade, and depart, no problem, no waiting. But geography alone does not build empires. Here's what actually happened. The Dutch set up a trading post, but they weren't interested in control, they were interested in profit. So they did something revolutionary in the 17th century. They let anyone in. African slaves, yes, tragically, but Jewish businessmen are also fleeing Europe. German craftsmen, Irish workers, British businessmen, Chinese businessmen. Anyone who wants to make money is welcome, no questions asked. While other cities built walls and asked, "Who are you?" New York asked, "What can you build? What can you sell? What can you make?" In the 18th century, the city was home to many languages, many religions, many cultures living on this small island. Most believed that this would lead to anarchy. Instead, it produced something unexpected: ambition multiplied. When a German Jewish businessman met an Irish dock worker who met a British businessman, they didn't fight, they made deals. They made things together. He shared his thoughts. Each wave of immigrants was not competition, they were extra. Perfect storm of timing. Then came the 19th century. The Erie Canal was built, connecting New York with the entire American interior. Suddenly, cargo from the Midwest could flow straight into the ocean. Ships from Europe could unload goods directly into America. New York became the only city where European goods met American goods. Every trade route in the world began to pass through this one port. And that's when the real magic happened. The factories opened, banks opened, shipping companies, get some clothes. Every industry that needs to move goods quickly needs to be in New York. Not because the politicians had planned it, because the math demanded it. Leap towards cultural power. At the beginning of the 20th century, something remarkable happened. New York ceased to be just a business city and became the world's factory of ideas. Children of immigrants went to school. He became a writer, artist, musician, film producer. He had access to every culture on Earth that lived in his block. They were hungry, were ambitious, they had something to prove. Jazz was born here. The Broadway theater exploded. The Harlem Renaissance. Films began to be made here. Modern art, modern architecture, everything modern seemed to flow from this one island. Why? Because New York had created a culture that rewarded doing something that no one had done before. Taking risks was not dangerous, it was the only way to survive and succeed. Here's the thing about New York. It wasn't that the city was chosen, the city chose itself. It started with geography, a good port. But this is not unique. Every coastal town has ports. What made New York different was this. It created a system where the best ideas, the hungriest people, and the strangest dreams could actually come together and create something. A Spanish empire depended on conquest. The British Empire depended on naval power. New York depended on something simpler and more powerful. It let people come. It let them fail. It gave them a chance to try again. And when they succeeded, they made the whole city prosperous. This is why, even after 400 years, it's the most powerful city in the world. Not because of fate, not because of natural resources, but because a small island discovered something that most of the world never understood. The best resource is not geography, or gold, or military power. It is the unlimited potential of those who have nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's why New York still stands. That's why billions of people still dream of coming here. Because in New York, you don't inherit success, you build it. And that idea